Welcome to the Drop In with Pindi podcast from Warriors TMA Academy, a podcast for everyone from business inspirational leaders, combat sports enthusiasts, martial artists, and fitness fans. Together, we can build our self-discipline, confidence, and positive mindsets through great leaders. Now, here's your host, coach and former pro fighter, Pindi Matahar.
Welcome back, listeners, ladies and gents. We are here for the Drop In with Pindi podcast. And today, ladies and gents, I am scared because I am sat in front of the one and only Bola. You guys listening at home, wherever you are, you guys are going to get super inspired, motivated by the end of this. This gentleman sat in front of me right now has helped me on multiple occasions. I've lost count the amount of times he's helped me, but from a psychological point of view, from a mentally point of view, he has been there for me throughout the majority of my life. He's still stuck by me. Don't know why. I need to ask him this question, but he's been there. You guys are going to learn so much from today's podcast. He's helped so many people out there. He's an inspiration to many, and you guys are going to absolutely love today's podcast. So, before we get started, Mr. Bola, thank you very much, first of all, for joining us today. Welcome to the Drop In with Pindi podcast. How does it feel to be in front of me?
Thanks for having us here, mate. I feel stoked today. Thank you.
Thank you. So, not many people know, but obviously, I've mentioned in previous podcasts about this before. Everyone has their ups and downs in their career. Everyone has ups and downs in their life. We faced in the UK, around the world as well, I wouldn't say horrible year, but a very tough year in regards to the pandemic. There's been a lot of people out there suffering, stuck at home with mental health issues. There's been a lot of people have no idea what they want to or what's going to be going on in their lives. And we can see the light now at the end of the tunnel. We know what's going on, but there's a lot of people still suffering with a bit of anxiety about coming out of this. There's still a lot of people out there stuck with knowing what's going to be the future, because obviously everything's uncertain at the moment. And there was a time in my life as well, where you know about, but the listeners out there, where I suffered one of my I was fighting for the British title in mixed martial arts, and I suffered a loss, a very bad loss in my opinion, which effectively afforded me to go immediately into hospital and get operated on, where I fractured my eye socket, broke my cheekbone, as well as my jaw as well. And after that, I was at a very, very low point in my life, and that's hard to admit. I hate admitting it now, but it's one of them things. Sure. It's reality. It's reality about it. I was at a very, very low point. I think I want to say it was around 2012 stroke 2013, and I touched on this before. When you're winning, when things are going great, everyone, the energy around you is second to none. Things are going amazing. People are tapping you on your back. People are messaging you, giving you calls and stuff. When things ain't going so well, it's very rare this gets used, right? Yeah. It's very rare. It's very rare someone's Pindi, give you a hug around the back, whatever it may be. And I'm not. It's just general. It's one of those things. I'm not calling anyone out on it. It's just one of them things, right? But I lost a bit of contact with you around that time. But you, for whatever reason, and I want to know this why, you decided to pick up your phone, drive to Coventry, give me a slap across the face and sort me out. Okay, but there's going to be more to that as well, guys. Yeah, it's not just as easy as that. But it took a while, but you did. And right now, that's how this man's helped me. And right now, the reason I got G here is because I want him to, what he's done for me, what he's done for many others, which I've witnessed in my life as well. I want you guys listening at home, if you're going through this as well, to be inspired by today's podcast of his mindset, his thought process, and more importantly, just his positive energy and his basically don't give a fuck attitude. And I fucking love that about him, okay? So you guys listening, coming out of this pandemic, coming out of what is now the new norm. I hope you're inspired by today's podcast. You're going to absolutely love it. So, G, let's go back to 2012-13. What made you, bearing in mind we weren't in contact with each other around that time as well, we lost a bit of contact, you moved city, etc. What made you pick up the phone and basically fuck me up after that?
Right. This is good. Right. So, at that point in our lives, I think the first thing that's worth pointing out now is is that who we were both back then is by no means who we are now.
100%.
Who we've become since that time is a massive change, right? It's astronomical change in what we've undergone. And therein lies the answer as to most people's current living situations, okay? Right?
Yeah.
Now, there's different people that want to quote today as we're going about our podcast, right? So Jim Rohn goes on to say that you can have more than what you've got because you can become more than who you are. At any given point, if you want more in your life, you have to bring about change in your life. If you refuse to bring change in your life and you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting the same results that you've always had. Now, this is what happened back in 2012, 2013. Around the time when you started coming into your journey of becoming a fighter, competing, and I'm talking about everything from Bama, the stuff that you did in Warsaw where you were fighting, and I followed you on that journey.
100%.
In fact, it was Manny and I who covered the videoing of one of the Bama events where you were.
Yep.
Right, you came out, you were prepared. Kuldeep Manik playing in the background. You had your whole psyche was geared up towards winning, right? So been there, seen everybody around you. I was with you from the beginning before you even came onto the scene.
You were there for at my very first
fight.
MMA fight. Aston
Villa
ground, the Villa ground.
I recorded it.
You uploaded it, guys. If you just, I don't want to interrupt him too much, but if you go onto the YouTube, you type in Pindi Madahar Aston Villa fight or whatever it was back in 2008. And that was this man recording that fight and uploading it for me on YouTube all those years ago. Man, that feels like yesterday. But yeah, you were there from the very first one.
So look, going back to the event and the incident you've touched upon. What happened was I'd been following you, obviously, because you're a friend of mine, right? Online. There was regular updates coming on. Everybody going to be at this fight. You can buy these tickets. This is how much it's going to cost. These are the places that you can buy them from. There was continuous updates online. What happened was you were going so much deeper into the competitive scene that ultimately what was happening was you were having to cut down on your interactions with other people in your life. Now, everybody does this. I know for a fact that people have spoken to me what high-end competitors do. So one of my previous professors, Neil Simpkin over in Warsaw, he's mentioned that when he trains with either Victor or his brother, Braulio, right. So what Braulio will do is when he's competing, he'll cut down the amount of time that he's spending with his students so that he can be in the right mindset in order to compete. Yes. So he wants to have the right people come to his gym, spending time with him, because the people that you hang around with is ultimately what's going to bring different value to your life, but also the results in your life, right? Absolutely. So what Braulio will do is this is only from what I've heard. He'll train with people who are going to push him to his limits, people that with whom he can rep the outcomes and the results and the actions that he needs in order to be successful. And he'll spend less time with other people who aren't going to be able to add to that particular objective in his life. Yeah, right. Of course. So I know that now, but back then all I saw was you spending less time with other people and spending more time with the competitive scene, right? Sure. Well, it was quite obvious that something wasn't right because you suddenly just dropped off the scene. And that's what happened. I'm on Facebook, and I looked at your the story page or your Facebook page.
Back then it was just Facebook, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back then, it was just
So 1 minute, Pindi Madahar, the next big thing, with massive aspirations to make it in the USC. On the competitive scene, is in your face, tickets to be bought, places I'm going to be, the results from different fights, and then I haven't heard anything for about 2 or 3 months. Well, it's not rocket science. Something's not right. So, doing what anybody who'd be concerned does, you fire off a text message. Of course. Yo, Pindi, how you doing? When's your next fight, bro? Is everything all right? The funny thing is, your responses were so diluted, it was obvious that you were feeding me bullshit. It was so obvious, and you know it.
Yeah.
And you know this because looking back, right?
Yeah, I forgot.
You can remember it.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, then maybe there is something going on in his life. Maybe he's trying to figure something out. He'll come around. But you never really did come around. And that's when I realized, well, this isn't something that's going to be done over text messages. We're going to have to put in a phone call.
Yeah.
So on the phone call, it became even more apparent that you're just trying to put in a brave face, because what you were saying didn't tally up with your tone of voice. You know, the
two and two don't add up.
Yeah, they talk about non-verbal cues and all the rest of it, right? So it was so when I probed you a little bit more through my questioning, you know, about your life and all the rest of it, it was, what was it? Within minutes, you just turned around and said, look, bro, I'm in a really bad place. I need help.
Yep.
Right? And that's difficult because most people won't admit to that. Most people won't reach out for that. And I think you ended up in a bad place because of the setback that you had, right? Yeah. And you didn't know what needed to be done in order to come out of it.
100%.
So I've touched upon Jim Rohn and what he said.
Yeah,
Tony Robbins explains what you were going through quite well. And what he says is, our life, whether we're living in a happy state or a sad, negative state, really comes down to just a couple of things. And one of the main things is our life expectations. So if a life is going according to our life expectations and everything's amazing, so you wanted to fight, you want to win, you want to see progress, you want to move on to the next event, you wanted to win, you want to fight, you want to train, you want to feel good, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a repetition going on.
It's cyclical, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So what was happening with you, in my mind now, this is the way I'm thinking about it, is you'd fallen off that. What your expectations were is that you're going to move, and your momentum was going to be carried on in the direction that I want to compete, I want to get somewhere, you know, and suddenly you're not there anymore. And I think you realized, because that wasn't the first time you'd fallen off the bandwagon, right?
Yeah,
with regards to what was going on. It happened very quickly, 2 or 3 times in a short period of time.
It was I suffered my first loss in 2012.
Yeah.
Beginning of 2012. So I went so many fights unbeaten, thinking I was some sort of hero,
of course,
as you do, you know, and then you get a reality check, right? So like I just mentioned at the beginning, when things are going well, you think you're Superman, you're invincible. So I was winning all these fights, going from strength to strength, thinking I'm achieving great things, which at the time I was, but looking back, wow, it's just a fight. There's bigger things to life to realize now. But I suffered my first loss at the beginning of 2012. But I was so embarrassed, is the best way to put it. I was so embarrassed, and I just want to hurry up and get back into it. The older me wishes I turned around and said to the younger me now and said, just chill out, take a bit of a break because I was so regularly competing, and I wasn't giving my body a chance to fully heal. And when you're younger, you can back me up. When you're younger, you get a knock in the face, or you have a real tough training session. You go home, you don't even need to stretch. You can go home, eat whatever, and then wake up in the morning, you're fresh as a daisy. The older you get, you have a really tough training session, you can feel it straight away. You need to start stretching your body out. You need to start taking supplements when you get home. You need to eat. You wake up in the morning, you wake up and you're like, stiff as anything. You need to have another stretch out, etc. So obviously what I was doing back then is I was just competing, and not really giving my chance to fully heal. And I suffered my first loss at the beginning of 2012, which, again, like I just expressed, I was embarrassed about. And the reason I was embarrassed, like I said, I was having such a big following at the time that I felt like, oh, my God, I've let everyone down. I'm embarrassed. I just got submitted. And I just wanted to hurry up, get away at the venue, get back to Coventry, sleep, wake up in the morning. I remember putting a massive status up on Facebook, apologizing to everyone that I lost. And I'm going to get back in the gym. And I got back in the gym straight away. I was a bit battered from the fight, but I still got back in the gym. I wanted to try and prove that I was okay. But that was me physically. But mentally, I had so many barriers, like going from there to there to there.
So here we go, look.
And that was my first proper boom down.
So this is a perfect opportunity to have a bit of a reflection as to what happened, right? Because when the first time things started going wrong, the problem was compounded when the second time something went wrong, and it was more of the same because some of it was around mismanagement.
Yeah.
Okay, and we discussed this right at the time, and that was very core to your heart because sometimes it's the people that are closest to you when they don't have your best interests at heart, and so sometimes it can be family, sometimes it can be friends. Sometimes
there's a lot of stuff going on personal side as well. Yeah.
So every time a new version of the same shit happens, the old feelings and the negativity comes flooding back.
Yeah.
So it's like a compound effect. The more of the same happening or more of something similar happening keeps taking you back to what happened before, right? So then you kind of end up in like a victim's mentality, right? So at that time, if we look at how you felt and we try to put numbers on the 5 main things in your life that give you the biggest juice, right? I could pretty much guess what the numbers are going to be, right? So we'll do it now, right? So I'm talking about health, wealth, success, happiness, and relationships. Okay?
Yep.
Right. So if you had to put a number on it between 0 and 10, right? As to like 0 being, oh man, it's poor. I don't want to be there. It's no good. And 10 being, man, it was awesome. Couldn't be better than where we were at the time. I'm definitely heading in the right direction, right? On your health alone, at that time, when you were feeling low, what would you put your health at?
5.
5. Okay. What about your wealth? Now, when I'm talking about wealth, I'm not just talking about your finances.
Yeah.
I'm talking about everything in your life that, it brings something good to you. Like, so it could be finances.
Okay.
But it could be other things that you attribute wealth to. So the things that you've got together, your ability to access decent training, decent coaching, decent management. Well, what would you say that was?
7.
7, right?
Okay.
So your health was a 5. And your wealth was a 7.
Yeah.
Right. What about your success at that time? When
you call me.
Yeah.
0.
0. So your success was 0, right?
Yeah.
Health, wealth, success. What about your happiness?
0.
0, right?
0.
What about your relationships?
0.
Man.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Look. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to comment on that very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine living your life as a 5, a 7, a 0, 0, 0.
There you go.
Right? And this is where I think people need to take note. Most of the time, when we're in a bad place, it hasn't just crept up on you. The signs were already there beforehand.
100%.
The inclinations were there that something's not right. Something isn't going my way.
Yeah.
And the main reason why we find ourselves in this problem is because of neglect. We become neglectful.
Yep.
Right? So people become neglectful over their health. People become neglectful over their wealth. So I'm going to be talking about finances here now. If someone's living paycheck to paycheck, how has that come to be? It hasn't just crept up on them. They've agreed to finance agreements. They are spending more than what they're earning. They are living beyond their means. They aren't saving enough. They haven't done the research. If you don't plan and prepare for your successes in life, you're not going to get any successes in life. It isn't going to happen. Yeah. So at that point in your life, you're at a 5, you're at a 7, you're at a 0, 0, 0. Yeah. Right. Now move forward to today. Right? What's your health like?
I would say 10.
10.
10,
right?
9, 10, yeah.
Right? It's freaking amazing. Yeah. What's your wealth like?
10.
All right. What's your successes like?
I've got bigger goals, so I'd say 8.
Okay, you got bigger goals because you're already heading in that direction. Yeah. Your momentum is taking you there, right? 8's amazing, right? Health was happiness.
10.
Right.
10 plus.
But what are your relationships like?
10 plus.
Now, what a change, right? There you were at a low point in your life, and it didn't just happen to you. The signs were there that it was happening, and you had neglectful attitude at that time. I'm not saying that you did it on purpose, Pindi. No way am I saying that you did it on purpose, right? And these are the lessons of life.
Yeah, 100%.
But if the viewers and the listeners can take anything away from this, is that neglect is an infection. It starts off in one area of your life, right? You know how people have this attitude, oh, don't worry about it, do it later, right?
Or I'll start my diet on Monday.
Yeah.
I'll start my training on Monday.
Right.
And it's Tuesday, and I'll start it next Monday.
Or it's only a donut.
Yeah.
You know, it's old should have, could have, but won't kind of attitude. Today I've come back home from work. I should go for a run. I can go for a run. I can go for a run. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
I should go for a run. I could go for a run, but I won't go for a run. Right? Apple a day isn't an apple a day for no reason. It starts you off on your journey to a better diet. I could have vegetables or fruit as part of my servings today.
Yeah.
I should have vegetables or fruit as part of my serving today, but I won't have vegetables or fruit as part of my diet today.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, missing it one day isn't going to make a massive difference in your life. But the accumulation of it
becomes a habit.
Yes. And then you will know about it 4, 5, 6 months down the line.
Absolutely.
If we are more mindful of what's going on in our lives, and we'll explain that in the toolkit section towards the end of this podcast, right? Because there's exercises, drills, mental exercises that we can do to take note of where we are, where we want to be, and where we're going.
Yes.
If we were to concentrate more on that throughout our day, well, the days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, then years, and you got a beautiful life, right?
Absolutely.
Now, oh man, this is gonna get deep now.
Go for it.
Right. Spoke to somebody recently.
Okay.
Right. And it's a friend of mine, and she's feeling really down. And I said to her, tell me at least 12 occasions on the last year that you've been happy. 12. I just want 12 incidents, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She couldn't tell me. Like, how about 6? Tell me 6.
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew she was going through a hard time, right?
Absolutely.
But I wanted to be able to concentrate on something positive at least, so I can use that as a basis to move on. She couldn't give me 6. Right? I said, just tell me 1. Just 1. She goes, maybe I can't remember it. Well, okay.
1.
Okay, so tell me this, right?
Okay.
I'm just as surprised as what you said, but then again, I wasn't so surprised because I've been there, right?
Yeah.
So I asked her to give me 1 example of in the last 12 months when she was happy. She goes, maybe I just can't remember. Well, how can you not remember, right? Because memories are made when an event takes place and there's an emotion attached to it. It's fired and wired, and it's imprinted in your psyche, in your brain. Yeah. Right. You can't forget it. Right. So you'll know where you were when you won your first fight.
100%.
Right. Yep. You'll know the person that you fought, and I bet you know how it was that you came to win that fight. Yeah. Yeah. You probably even remember who was there. Yeah. Right. Because the event took place and there's euphoria there. Right. All right. So when I talk to like older people who are like my age, 40 and above, right? Yeah. I'll say to them, well, you can remember because you'll remember where you were when news broke of Diana dying and passing away. Yeah. Right. Because it's a shock. Like, massive. Oh my God, Diana's passed away. Right. An event took place. There's an emotion attached to it. You'll remember where you were when you heard about the bad news about the Twin Towers coming down. Yes. I remember where I was. I was working for Jewson's here in Coventry.
I was in school.
It's crazy, right? Yeah. The news broke. Yeah, and you're like, damn, man, like this can't be real. Yeah. I remember seeing it on TV. It looked like another Die Hard movie.
Yeah. That's right.
Like you're like, wow. This must be a black. This can't be real. Like the cinematography looked amazing. And then you go home, and that's all they're talking about. Like the shock is massive. Yes. The same goes for good times in your life. Yes. Your mind and your brain doesn't discriminate between how it creates memories. Yeah. Just like it doesn't discriminate between the different states that you're feeling at any given time. So she couldn't recall one incident that she was happy, joyous, excited in the last 12 months, bro. Wow. If you live until the age of 80, you haven't even got 80 occasions that you've been happy in your life. Wow. That's when it hit me how damaging it can be to let your own mind run away with its thoughts. Because what's happening in essence, look, happiness.
Because I was going to say you've given that as an example of your friend.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there right now.
Everybody.
Fucking GPs out there are fucking subscribing fucking depression fucking tablets left, right, and center. Do you get what I mean? And it's
But
like,
why?
why?
They're masking the problem.
Yeah, exactly. This is why it's important now to get the message across to everyone, because you don't need to rely on that, guys. Yeah, if you're listening here and you're thinking, I'm feeling low, listen to the rest of this, yeah, and you'll understand the importance of your own mind management.
Yeah, well, definitely. Look, I'm not here today to say to people,
Yeah.
stop taking the meds that your doctor's giving you, right?
Yeah,
or don't engage with the NHS and this and that. Absolutely engage with them. They know what they're doing. They've done enough studies in order to bring about a way of trying to help you, right?
Yeah.
What I am saying is, at any given point, you need to ask yourself the question, well, what have I done, or what can I do to make my current predicament better than what it is at the moment? And if you're not asking yourself that question and you're not open to change, you're going to keep getting more of the same. So if we take her, for example, right, if she doesn't reflect on the fact that she doesn't really have any happy thoughts to think about, right, and if she doesn't do anything in order to correct that and to work towards being a more happier person, to having a better relationship with herself, then there's nothing else out there that's going to make it happen. Yeah. Like one of the biggest mistakes that people make in their life is when they turn around and say, "I'll be happy when."
Yeah,
man, that's
that. You know what? That's a massive human nature. And it's funny you should bring that up, because I've had the same conversation with my wife literally about a week ago, and I said, we as human beings are so spoiled in this country, because in the sense we are always, in one way you could see it as a positive, because you're never comfortable, you never settle, you always want to achieve more, which is, I think, is a positive. But in reality, and something I feel like the pandemic has actually taught us is that we don't really need a big this and this, because as human beings we can just be comfortable with what we've got and be satisfied. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In an Asian culture, and you can back me up, get a beautiful house, comfortable, got beds, got food on the table, everything. But in our culture, you'd never be satisfied. Am I right? You wouldn't need a bigger house. Why do you need a big house? What are the neighbors going to think? Why is such and such going to think? Because you're always concerned about the other person. Is that the path you're looking to go down? Got a car, gets you from A to B, right?
Yeah.
You can put fuel in it, job done. But then why is it that, we need to get the biggest car going, or we need to get the fastest car going? Just be happy, be settled with what you got.
Yeah.
I can see it as one thing, as a positive, because people need materialistic things to achieve as goals, and maybe rewards. But on the other side, you need to learn to be satisfied and understand and be with the present and be comfortable with it.
So look, you're talking about stuff here that is so meaningful, right, to the reason why we're having our discussion today, which is to be happy, our personal beliefs, and how to create a better self-image. Right? She was of the mindset that I'll be happier when I get the perfect partner in my life, right? I'll be happier when I'm on holiday. Yeah. And I see this at work as well, right? So you go to work and people complain about work. I don't want to be here. Like, so where do you want to be? I don't know. Anywhere's better than here. But you can't define where you want to be instead of being here. Yeah. That doesn't really count, right? Or I see some people, man, they are dying to get to their retirement age. Like what
wishing their life away.
Yeah. So we're like, so you don't want to be here. You want your retirement? Yeah, I want retirement. Okay. So how far is retirement? 12 years. Yo, you're wishing away 12 years of your life?
Mad, isn't it?
Like, are you serious? If you can't find a reason to be happy now, you can't find a reason to live now, there's no meaning in your life, there's no purpose, you've got no North Star in your life now, what makes you think you're going to get it when you get your pension? What makes you think you're going to get it when you lose 5 stone, or you get promoted, or when you find a new partner? Because the truth of the matter is, in fact, let me backtrack a little bit.
Go for it.
Some people don't even get to retirement.
It's true. That's a scary. I was going to touch on that in a minute.
Looking forward to retirement. Some people don't even get to retirement, right? And you've already put in place like attitudes, beliefs, perceptions, and habits that you want to carry through once you get to retirement.
Yeah.
Or once you get that partner. In order for you to attract a partner, you have to be a person who resonates on that level with the type of partner that you want.
Yeah.
If you stay the way that you are and will never be happy until you get something, if you're going to be walking around, moping all day, not being in a happy place, is the type of partner that you want actually going to be attracted to you? Well, the answer is more than likely not. And even if you do come across that person and life's amazing, if you still don't change yourself, it won't be long before that partner leaves you.
Of course.
Right? You know, if you haven't got 20 grand, and somebody else needs it, are you able to give it to them? No. If you haven't got compassion in your heart, can you feel compassion for anybody else?
No.
If you haven't got love in your life, if you can't find a way to love yourself and to have a better relationship with yourself, are you going to be able to have love with somebody else?
No.
And have a better relationship with somebody? It ain't going to happen.
No.
I think therein lies the problem. And I'm not saying it's people's fault. What I'm saying is that now we have massive opportunity to help people and say, look, you've been growing up with thoughts, habits, beliefs, perceptions, and some of them aren't even yours.
It's true. And linked with that, G, there's a famous saying going, right? You can't teach old dog new tricks. So when you got an example like your friend who's stuck in her way, and she wants to be happy when she finds Mr. Perfect as an example, right? How are you going to challenge that on her? How are you? What are you putting in place to try and change her mindset, or can you change someone's mindset once they're stuck?
Of course you can, man.
Do you know what I mean?
You can.
Yeah.
It's a gradual process, and
It's not an overnight thing. Not click over fingers.
no, but the results are very fast.
Right.
Right. And I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
It's a very good question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We do need to address it, but
Yes.
it's part of the toolkit that I'm going to give at the end. Right.
Perfect.
Right? So we will address it.
Yeah. Because sorry, linked with that, because I know there's going to be, I'm not saying this to everyone, yeah, but I know there'll be a handful of listeners thinking, I'm X amount of age. I've always thought this way.
Yeah.
I'm too old for this. Does that make sense? Just like we get asked all the time in training, I'm 40 plus, I'm 50 plus. Can I really train? Of course you can.
Yeah.
Of course you can. Just get onto the mats, get started. Even if you can do half a push-up, that's a massive improvement to not even turning up. Do you get what I mean? So
in order to help people understand why happy is good, and why being in positive states is good, we need to help them realize why or how they came to be dwelling in sad and negative states, right? And then before you can jump across to the positive, we need to we need to start working around neutral-based thinking. Because neutral-based thinking, right, which is factual based, seeing things from what they actually are, is the quickest way to shift the momentum from being in a negative state to heading in the way of a positive way of living, right?
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things I mentioned was that our beliefs aren't always our own beliefs. They're handed down to us either by our parents, the communities that we live in, or the stuff that we're watching on TV. And they're the three biggest things that come across to me, right?
Yes.
So I'll give you a wicked example of where this happened in my life.
Okay.
When growing up, my mom said to me on so many occasions, if you want to be successful in life, you got to work hard. You got to work damn hard. And if you want more, you got to work even harder. Right? So I'm thinking, all right, then. This is when I was a kid, right? Everything that your parents tell you, you believe.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah,
so,
of course.
so you got to work hard. You got to work damn hard if you want what other people have got, the BMWs, the Mercedes, the houses, any of that. So I'm thinking, all right, I got to work hard. And then on the flip side of it, she'd see other people who have got things, and what she'd mentioned to me is, they've got that because of some sort of fraud that they committed. They've got it because they're sinful, right? They've got it because they're dishonest.
Yeah.
Right? So Bro, seriously, just think about this.
It's a mind
Think
fuck.
about my relationship with money when I
Yeah.
was growing up. If I want it in the first place, I gotta work damn hard.
Of course.
If I want to keep the damn thing, I gotta be dishonest, sinful, and be fraudulent. Right? So that belief was handed down to me.
As a kid, you believe it.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Is what she said true? The answer is no.
Yeah.
Right,
obviously,
okay,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
So this is
obviously,
why.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why. There's a lot of people that can earn money without having to work hard, but they work smart. They use leverage. Like people do it all the time. Like listen to podcasts like Gary Vaynerchuk online, right? He talks about putting in the hours. He talks about the grind and all the rest of it, right? But you get to a point where you think, well, wait a minute, I now know so much that I can put better use to it. I can make better use of it. You know, I can delegate to other people. If you got to bust your balls every day for the rest of your life, you ain't gonna have much of a life that you've lived. So what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
And then on the other flip side of the coin, where the information given to me was that they'll be dishonest, they'll be fraudulent, you know, they'll be sinful, all the rest of it. Well, that's not true neither. Like Bill Gates has got the I think it's a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right?
Yeah.
So they do a lot of philanthropy stuff. They do a lot of stuff in the community.
Yeah.
Well, if we look around, there's a lot of people doing good in the community.
Absolutely.
Like, I was speaking to one of my friends earlier, and he was saying I was doing charitable work. Wow. Like, I know you do charitable because you support football teams, right? You're investing in the youth. You want them to do better.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, wow, this was life changing for me. Whether you think you can, or whether you think you cannot, either way, you're right. If you have the opinion that you can't achieve something, or something's wrong, or something's going to be difficult, then yeah, you're right. With that attitude, it's going to be difficult. But if you've got the opinion and a deep down belief that I can achieve it, well, what will happen is you'll far exceed what other people will do, because your approach and your attitude is so different that you're primed for success. How is it not going to become possible in your life? Yeah. Just that simple one thing alone.
True.
Right, so I've seen it with the kids at the football clubs and the football teams that I coach. Right, you get one kid that goes, "Oh man, they've got Johnny on their team. Johnny's really good."
Yeah.
All right, and it becomes infectious because then he thinks in his mind he can't do it. Right, everybody else starts going, "Wow, who's Johnny? Johnny must be really good." You know, if Tom's saying Johnny's over there, he's going to be decimating our defense and banging in goals. It's going to be difficult. Well, the whole mood has changed, and I've had that so many times, right? Because, as I mentioned before, happiness, including every other state that you can feel, resides in our mind, right? But it all comes down to how much attention we're giving to it. So I'm talking about happiness, abundance, wealth, creativity, imagination. Everything's in our mind.
Of course.
But on the flip side of things, so are things like anxiety, depression, fear, worry, rage. All these things are in our mind, right?
All of it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So look, at any given point, whatever you're paying attention to is what's going to manifest. So what will happen is, in people's lives, they'll have thoughts. Right. Attached to the thought is an emotion, right?
Yes.
That emotion is your interpretation as to what action you're going to take and what result you're going to get.
So almost a drive. The emotion is the drive, right?
Yeah. But the emotion itself is fixated on our habits, our beliefs, and our perceptions. So I'll give you a couple of examples on
Go for it.
Right. When you go to Alton Towers, right?
Yeah.
They put a smile on your face.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to go.
Right. You go to Alton Towers, right? I'm scared of rides, right? You're right. Like,
you know, like the Oblivion.
Oh man, just the words right. Right. The Oblivion, right?
When you stuck there.
So I go there. Everybody else is going on there. I got to go on it. Like, if I don't go on it, I'm standing over there watching them. They're having a cool time. They're speaking. They're laughing. They're like, "Whoa, why's G not over here?" G's a wuss. You know what I mean? He acts a tough man at work, but look at him now. Doesn't even want to go in Oblivion. Like, what's the worst that can happen, right? Yeah. So I'm stuck in the queue. Now, the queue is taking 45 freaking minutes before it gets to the top, right? And at every minute that I'm waiting in that queue, I am causing, I'm dreading it, man. I'm causing stress. Like my palms are sweaty. Like my heart's going, palpitations. I'm thinking, man, like if I go up there, I'm gonna have to jump on it. The support system's gonna come down. It's gonna start taking off. What happens when it gets to the top and it kinks over? What happens if that bloody thing opens up? I'm gonna fall out. I'm gonna be dead. My family ain't gonna know about it. And I hear about it in the freaking Daily Mail. Right? and you just work yourself
All
up.
these thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm there. I'm going up. Jump into the bloody thing. You put your stuff on the side, and then it's real. Like at any point before you put your stuff down on the side to jump into that sea, you can say, "Nah, fuck this. See you later. I gotta go. Gotta use the bathroom." Right? You're out of there. Right? But once you sit down in that seat and that thing comes down, like your mind's going, Yo, get out of here, man. Like, jump, move. Tell them you're having an asthma attack, heart attack, whatever you're going to say. Like, I forgot, today's a religious day. I don't do right, right? Anything. But it gets even worse, man, because then it comes around. Everybody else is like happy coming off their rides. But as you're coming around and you're going, it's going clunk, 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 because it's not an easy ride to get up there. The bloody thing that makes stupid noises. And then you look to your left,
and you can see the
and
drop.
there's somebody already there, in another part of that same ride, waiting to fall. And when they do, they're screaming, and women scream, guys scream, everything happens, right? So you go all the way to the top, and then now you're looking over. And you're like, yo, like, God, please, if I make it through this, I will never do anything sinful ever again. Just help me. This is crazy. You're only halfway through your prayer and the freaking thing drops. And you're like, you're screaming, like you release the energy, right?
Yeah.
You come out the other end and you're like, whoa, that was crazy. That was brilliant. Like, I can't believe that happened. I'm alive. Like, the euphoria in your bodies.
Yeah.
That's what rides are, yeah?
Absolutely.
And then somebody stupid goes, let's go again. And you're like, no, I'm going to go KFC. I'm going to jump on the Caterpillar. I want to look at you on the children's ride as we're going around.
The teacups.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's me. That's my experience.
Of course.
Now look at somebody else who loves rides.
Yeah.
The whole weight of jumping into that queue, going up, sitting in the seat, they're like, wow, I can't wait for this.
Yeah.
Like their emotion, their feeling, their anticipation is completely different. But what's happening in our mind and body is completely separate.
Right, okay.
Right? It's the same when people jump on an airplane to go abroad. Some people are thinking about a destination. Some people are thinking of the airplane just as another mode of transport, right? Some people are like, I can't wait to get on the beach with my wife, with my children. We're going to have such a good time. We'll go back to the resort. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. The moment hasn't even happened, but they are living it as if it has, and they're having such a good trip in their mind. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
But then somebody else could jump on the airplane and have an outright panic attack.
Yes.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
Let me out of here. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
This is the worst experience ever. I told you lot I didn't want to be here. You still bring me on this freaking journey, and they have a really bad experience. How can it be that one person has an amazing experience no matter whatever's going on, and the other person's too busy torturing themselves? And the truth of the matter is, deep down, how many people go in the oblivion and come off the oblivion, get on the oblivion, come off the oblivion every year, man, and they're fine. The fact of the matter is, you're going to be absolutely fine.
100%.
Like, being on an airplane is probably safer taking an airplane journey than when most people turn around and jumping on a bus or walking the streets and getting hit by a bus, right?
Yeah.
We don't look at the facts. We're too busy looking at what somebody else has said or what somebody else has imparted upon us, right? What somebody else has said to us, and we believe it to be true.
Yeah.
And I think that causes a massive problem in our lives as well, which keeps us from being happy. Now, if we persist in these negative states long enough, it will become a habit. And negative thinking works 100% of the time, and the outcome is always negative.
And what you attract.
Yeah. Well,
What
the thing
you're
is,
attracting by thinking
if
negative
if
as well.
if you're in a bad state, if you're in a negative state, you're not going to get positive outcomes in life,
Yep.
right? So what we need to do, we need to start addressing the way that we think and start at least looking at factual-based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before I move on to that, what I want to do is talk about the effect that negative thinking or stressful states
Yes.
has on your mind,
Yeah.
your brain, and your body. Okay? I think this is quite important. So let me give you another typical example of somebody continuously being in a negative or stress-induced state. Yeah? If somebody's a victim of domestic violence,
Yep.
they're continuously worried about the next time that the partner's going to fly off the handle, right? And what they might do when they fly off the handle. So it hasn't yet happened, but that's what they worry about. Or if a child is at home experiencing parents kicking off, they just don't like it because the two people in their life that love one another are constantly battling with one another. They're having to hear it, they're having to view it, they're having to endure it, and chances are that kind of behavior is going to be imprinted upon their psyche, and they're going to start then following suit, because children don't always do as they're told.
Yes.
But they definitely do as they're shown.
100%.
Right? And so if these behaviors are around youngsters, they're going to start copying it.
Yeah.
Right? So what you've got is, you've got people who are living in a stress-induced state because they're anticipating something happening, but it hasn't actually happened.
Right.
And if that then becomes a habit in their life, they are constantly living or often living in a stress-induced state or a negative state, right? So I watched some videos on podcasts from a chap called Dr. Joe Dispenza, right?
Yes.
He worked very closely with, I think he worked very closely, with another chap called Dr. Bruce Lipton, right? And they're both, what they've done is they've looked at behaviors, habits, thoughts, perceptions, and the effect that it has on your body, right? So on Dr. Joe Dispenza's video, I watched it on Impact Theory on YouTube.
Yeah.
Amazing resource. If possible, I strongly recommend that people watch this sort of stuff, because then you're upgrading your knowledge.
100%.
Right. So
and also, guys, follow Dr. Joe Dispenza as well on Insta, because some of the stuff he posts on a daily basis, wow.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling, and it just gets you thinking outside the box, in my opinion. It's just mind-blowing.
It's bringing the unknown into your radar, right?
Yeah,
like, because it's look, growing up, who cares about being happy? Like, I didn't give a shit when I was training, when I was boxing in Coventry, when I was going to different places or was around family and friends. I never actually gave the thought of happiness any kind of meaning whatsoever, until you get to a point in your life and you think, wait a minute, like, what's my purpose, right? So anyway, back to Dr. Joe Dispenza. He goes on to talk about stress and what it does to you, right? So what he mentions is that back in the day, when we were cavemen, right, stress or stressful states had a really, really important function. So say, for example, you're out hunting, you're gathering, you know, for your family, for yourself, in order to survive. Or what will happen is there's a lot of dangerous animals around. So they'll talk about things like saber-toothed tigers, etc. When this danger is presented to you, what's your main objective at that point? It's survival. Right? You want to survive. I need to get out of here. I need to move. Now, the body has many functions, but at that point, you're in a kind of like a fight or flight scenario, right? I either need to deal and tackle with the threat that's being posed to me right now, or I need to get out of here. Boom, gone, right? And what happens is, as soon as the threat is gone, you're back to normal again. You're back to hunting, gathering, and spending time with your small community, right? Everything goes back to normal again, right? On a bodily function level, what happens is your body's got many things that it needs to take care of, right? So you got your nervous system, you got your immune system, clarity of thinking, this, that, and that. But you don't really need to think about much when you need to get away from danger. You just need to be out of there, right?
Yeah,
so you know, you like your gross motor skills, fine motor skills, this, that, and that.
Yeah.
You don't need them, right? So your body will cut back on certain things in order to give more importance to other things like your arms and your legs and your heart and your lungs to be able to carry out the exercise in order to get out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that point, what's happening is your immune system becomes suppressed, because the immune system typically, if you look at that situation on the most basic level, your immune system, it goes about like fighting infection, making sure you don't get a cold, or if there's a bacteria inside you, it wants to send the right blood cells in order to counter and all the rest of it, right? But when it's a life or death situation, like, to hell with the infection, and we'll deal with that afterwards. And what we're going to do right now is get you out of here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So back then, it worked fine.
Of course.
But the thing is, we can induce these states just by thought alone. And this is what made me realize how much damage I was doing to my own body and my mind.
Right.
Just by thinking about a negative situation, you can induce the same response from your body, which will downregulate your genes and make the efficiency of certain things like your immune system lessened, because it's anticipating that something crazy is going to happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when arms stood in that line waiting to go up, there is no actual threat, but I'm convincing myself that there is, right? So at that point, that's why my palms are sweaty. That's why my heart's beating. That's why I'm breathing like out of rhythm, right? And that's why I can't think clearly. Even when the facts are produced to me, I'm like, nah, man, you're crazy. I know no one's died on Oblivion, but that means we're just waiting for someone to fucking die. That's me.
That's a nick.
Right?
Yes.
So we're constantly reinforcing it.
Of course.
Right. The thing is, once I leave Alton Towers, I can still go back to a normal life and move on.
Yeah.
But some people can't. Every day they're putting themselves into a stressful state. Every day they're worried about bumping into their mother-in-law. Every day they're worried about what another colleague's going to say at work. Every day they're not happy that when they posted something on Facebook and they haven't had enough likes, or a specific person hasn't commented. Every day they're worried about where the next paycheck's going to come from.
Yeah.
Right? And when we put ourselves into a state of stress, and we live in it every day, what's happening to our ability to fight bacteria, infection, or our immune system? What's happening to it? Okay. Its efficiency goes way down, man. We are literally poisoning ourselves, because when there's a saber-toothed tiger and it is coming for you, and the adrenaline, the noradrenaline, the cortisol gets dumped into your system. When you run and you're out of there, what happens is you make use of it.
Straight away.
But when you're sat at home or you're sat in the office worrying about colleagues, worrying about your work. Yes.
All of that stuff.
And there is no release. Not only are you poisoning yourself, you're downregulating your genes, you're causing problems for your body. That's when you end up in states of panic attacks. That's when your blood pressure goes up. That's when your ability to think clearly goes out the window. And you are then putting yourself in the prime position to fall ill and to ruin your life.
100%.
And when you're doing that, remember what I said before?
Yeah.
Your children won't always do as they're told. They'll do as they're shown. Because what you're doing at the same time as living in this state, you're verbalizing the same. And children hear that. Colleagues hear that. Look, the conversation that worried people have and their thoughts, work's always screwing me over. I'm never getting promoted. I always get looked over for the best job. I never find the right partner. They're all assholes. Whatever you're verbalizing, the only people who will tolerate the same kind of rhetoric, the same kind of verbalization, is other people who are always in the same mindset or other losers in life.
Yep.
Other people who love making the same excuses. And we fall into this trap. Because it creeps up on us. But we've been neglecting the fact that it's there. And I'm saying this not as a criticism of other people. I'm saying it because I was there myself. 100%. Right? Like, at one point, it was so easy to offend me. Like, somebody only had to say hi and be like, what the fuck are you saying hi to me for? Like, what's there to be hi about? What's so hi, bro? You know what I mean? I've never seen you say hi to anybody else in the office. You know what I mean? You taking the piss? Yeah. Like, that's crazy. People become offended and regularly become offended, and it affects the outcomes in their life, right? Like, people complain. People are awesome at complaining, right? And
especially in this country.
Yeah, right. And I tell you why. Yeah. Look, we might also hit on this topic as well, because I think it lends to what we're talking about. People are a product to some degree of the things that they consume in life, right? So I'm talking about the people that you hang around with. I'm talking about the conversations that you have with other people. I'm talking about the TV programs that you watch. Like, the first thing I used to do in the morning, as soon as I woke up, was either go onto Facebook or go on to Daily Mail to read the news, right? So I bet you, I ain't got my phone, right? I bet you, if you look on Daily Mail right now, all you're going to see is negative, 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 negative. Right?
Yeah, it is. It's true. Every fucking media.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So they'll be talking about how we're getting screwed over by the European Union because of COVID jobs. Yeah. They're not releasing our COVID jobs. They'll talk about how India have also turned around and said, fuck you, you're not getting your COVID jobs. They talk about how a police officer has gone and kidnapped a woman, raped her and killed her, and now there's riots going on because the vigil wasn't allowed to take place in London, right? And the list just goes on, like the amount of people hating on Harry and Meghan Markle, right? That's constantly in there, right? All right. So you wake up in the morning and you are consuming this content.
Straight away.
Right? Yeah, it's the first thing that you're consuming. So you're reading about rapes, murders, injustices, riots, how things aren't fair in life. You tell me how your day's going to be.
Same, because you've just read, you've attracted it, and you're going to...
Right. And then, right, to further reinforce to yourself that the world is a shitty place, not only do you read the bloody article in the first place, you then go to the comment section, and then you read the comments that everybody else is putting out there.
You know why I'm laughing, yeah? Because I used to fucking do that all the time. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Right. I used to do that. It's fucking mad, isn't it?
Now you're reading comments,
yeah,
right? Comments are opinions of other people. They do not have to be factual. Exactly. Right, all right. So opinions is crazy because opinions are the most useless and worthless commodity on earth. Yes. Now, if you look at the things which are really pricey, which have meaning, things that you're willing to pay a lot of money for in life, the valuable commodities in life, right? If you look at what those are, then those are things like precious metals, because they're being used in cars, in phones, in airplanes, in catalytic converters. The price is high. Only a few years back, the price of oil was massive, through the roof. The whole world was complaining about it, right? It was a very, very expensive and valuable commodity at the time because the people were willing to pay for it because it was hard to come by. So we're talking about gold. If you look in the world of sport, why does Messi get paid what Messi gets paid? Because no one else can really do what Messi can do.
Yep.
Right? His contract is worth hundreds of millions.
Yes.
Look at Michael Jordan. He's got a multi-billion lifetime contract with Nike. Why? Because you don't get many people like him.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen, right? So opinions, they're the most useless, worthless commodity on earth. Why? Because there's approximately 8 billion people on earth, and everyone's got hundreds of opinions on any given topic.
Yes.
It's the one thing that's available in abundance.
Yes.
Like I don't know, pick a topic, UFC, right?
Yeah.
Like, the best people that you can get to commentate on UFC and to give their opinions and to give a live commentary is going to be people like Joe Rogan and other people in his circle, right?
Yeah.
But you got people in the armchair at home giving opinions on like,
commentating again. Yeah.
Like, how many people are sitting at home having their Indian curry, eating shit? Armbar. Yeah. Chokehold. Man, you're shit. I could have done that.
Yeah.
Like,
Whilst eating your kebab.
Yeah. You can go outside right now and say to somebody, yo, I want your opinion on UFC. I want your opinion on the NHS. I want your opinion about policing. I want your opinion about Boris Johnson. Man, they'll sit there and talk to you for hours.
Exactly.
Right? Opinions are the most worthless thing that you could run your life by at any given point. And people use these to reinforce the day that they're having. What kind of a day you're going to have. And then if you live in that state and you're constantly looking for things to reinforce why you're having a shitty day, why life is bad, why things are never going to be good, then you're going to be living in survival state and you are creating the correct conditions in life that are needed for you to fall ill. Now that we've talked about the detrimental effects that negative states can have on you and how you can create the perfect condition for it to live in your life, I want to tell you one good reason as to why stress does work nowadays.
Okay.
Right? The only good thing that I've seen so far where stress really works for you is when they use it during a organ transplant, during an operation. Right. Because what they do is they'll prep you up, and then they'll give you anti-rejection drugs, right? So these are pretty much variations of the stress hormones.
Okay.
So what they're doing is, you take somebody else's kidney and you were to put it in your body, right? Yeah. Your body's going to go, that ain't happening. A foreign object. It's not staying here, mate. I'm going to reject you.
Right.
So anti-rejection drugs, the way it's been explained to me, the way I've seen people like Dr. Bruce Lipton talk about it, what they're saying is they're pretty much stress-inducing hormones. They would down-regulate your immune system's response for it to stay in your body long enough for it to be accepted. And when they wean you off the drugs, it says, well, it's been here for a while anyway. What we'll do is we'll keep it.
Right.
But I can't think of any of the reason as to why you'd have it. Like, people are walking around pissed off, angry, hurt every day.
Yes.
Right. I was thinking about this last night. I can't think of many reasons in life where anger actually works in your favor. Right. So I tried to disprove my thought. So I thought, oh, no, wait a minute. How about a fight? It's crazy, right? I'm at home. I'm arguing with myself now. I'm like, oh, then wait a minute. No, you're wrong. How about in a fight? Right.
I've tried it in a fight. It doesn't work.
Anger doesn't work in a fight. It actually works against you.
Yeah.
It takes away your clarity of thinking, right? It's like if you're angry and you're really trying to punch something, if you're trying to punch something, it's never as effective as you as punching something, right? Right? Because what will happen is if you're really putting in the effort, if you're really trying hard and you're angry at the same time, ultimately it's working as resistance against you. I think Bruce Lee mentions it in his book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do. So he talks about boxing and punching in that section. You don't want to really try to punch. You want to let it go. You want it flow, right? So it doesn't work in a fight scenario because you don't need to be angry in order to win a fight. You just need clarity of mind. Look, you don't even need to get in the fight in the first place. What they teach us at work is use your mouth. If you can diffuse the situation with your verbals and make it clear to the other person you're not even willing to engage in a fight, there's nothing in this for you to get in a fight, and the cost implications to them for kicking off with you in the first place, most of the time you don't even need to get in the freaking fight.
Perfect.
Right? So anger doesn't work there. All right then. Well, somebody might say, what about warfare? Okay. Like, come on, man. Like, your country's at risk. Well, anger doesn't work there neither. Yeah. You need to strategize. You need to have a tactical advantage. You need to be able to approach it with clarity of thinking, right?
Yes.
Like, if your generals are like, nah, press the button, nuke the fuckers, let's do this. Like, we've seen it in movies before. We've seen it in American movies. There's always somebody saying, let's nuke the country. The other one saying, no, I want to think about it. Right? And in the end, clarity of mind always wins. So it doesn't work in a fight. It doesn't work in warfare. Well, then what about in sport? What about when you're doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you're going for a title defense? What about when you're doing kickboxing? What about you doing Thai boxing? What about when you're doing boxing? Come on, surely getting angry and getting, psyching yourself. No, it doesn't work. No. It's the same situation as the other two.
Yep.
So we are living in these states. We are subjecting ourselves to harm, and it works against us 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. On the total opposite end of this is then the positive state of mind, right? And what Dr. Joe Dispenza and I believe Dr. Bruce Lipton's gone on to say, is to say that when we're in a positive state of mind, when we can look forward to a better future, right? And when we can work towards obtaining something better in our lives through change, then what's happening is you take away the stress from your body. Your immune system and your genes start to upregulate. Blood flows better, all the rest of it. If you'd have been left in 2013 with your mindset back then and the true belief that what's happened to me now and the way it's happened is not only unjust, not only is it a shitty way of me living my life, but things are never going to change. If you genuinely believed that and you went on to make no change moving forwards, there's no way you'd have had this gym. There's no way you would have been with your wife that you got right now, right? Everything would have still been a 5, a 7, a 0, 0, 0.
True.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
Right? So what I've come to realize is negativity works, and it works 100% of the time. Like you have to watch this video that was done by a chap called Trevor Mowat on impact theory, interviewed by Tom Bilyeu. It is off the charts as how good it is, and I've introduced it to other people because what he does in the beginning of this particular video, he talks about how impactful negativity and the verbalization of it actually is. If you think something negative, right, it's going to have a negative outcome.
Of course.
Right, 100% of the time. Like, if it doesn't result in a negative result in, I don't know, taking of a penalty or something like that, you end up scoring the goal. What it actually does inside you is negative, right? Yeah. But he says, if you verbalize a negative thought, it is 10x. It is 10 times more powerful. Yeah. And then he goes on to give examples of that, as to where it's happened before. And what will happen is, people will say something negative, and then because you've gone ahead and verbalized it, you're sending that to you're sending it either to the universe or you're supplanting in your mind that it's going to happen, and it goes on and happens. In fact, fuck it, I'll give you an example of it, right? It's an example that he uses, but then I found another example to reinforce it afterwards. I thought, God, this guy's good. Right? So what I think he talks about a chap called Billy Buckner. Okay. Billy Buckner, I think, was a baseball player, right?
Right.
And there's a big game coming up. I think it was a title. And during this, prior to the match, prior to the actual event, they end up interviewing him. And in the interview, what he says is, it'd be a dream to win it. He goes, but it'd be an absolute nightmare if the ball is hit, but the person's going to do the home run, it comes over, and as I go to get it, it goes between my legs and through my hand, my glove. Right. Like, so the event comes along within the following week or so. Yeah. The pitcher's there, throws the ball, the guy smashes it, it comes over, it's heading towards him. He goes down to get it, it goes through his glove, through his legs. He attracted it. I think he goes on to say that the Mets won it that season. Wow. Right? They interviewed him because he's obviously influential. Yes. No. Yeah, so this interview was done beforehand, right? Yeah, so what he's done is
attracted it.
He's put it into his mind. Like, why say that? Of all the things that you could have said, why say it would be a disaster for this to happen? Yeah. Right? So I thought, how true could this be? So I coach football, so I know quite a bit about different footballing events that have happened. And it dawned upon me, Steven Gerrard did something very, very similar.
Yes.
I think Brendan Rodgers was in charge of their team.
Yes, he was.
They go ahead and they win a particular match, and everybody's huddled around. It's on YouTube. Everybody's huddled around. They're jumping up and down, and he's going, "We do not let this slip. We do not let this slip."
Yes.
Right. Out of all the things that you can say as a captain to your team, what's slipping got to do with it, bro? Right. So what happens? They play Chelsea.
Yeah, I remember that.
Somebody's coming through. We're talking about Steven Gerrard, one of the most accomplished footballers ever. Yeah. Right. Like I was there watching it at Standard. Yeah. In Fosol. I think it was 2006, 2007 when they were playing AC Milan. Yes. AC Milan went 3-0 up in the first half.
Yes, 2005 that was.
So what he did was he got his troops together and he led them to a victory that day.
I remember.
Right, so this guy, he knows about winning mentality. Here he is with his team. We do not let this slip. And the very next game, as what you're saying, right, when they're playing Chelsea, he slips. They run through, they score. That's the end of their title defense. I remember it's gone. This is how powerful verbalization of a negative thought is. You're better off just keeping your mouth shut. Yeah. Because if you look at the facts, on any given condition, it actually speaks differently. Yeah. And what you'd say is different as well.
Absolutely.
So Steven Gerrard instead could have said, "Guys, amazing. We've just done it. We've smashed it. We take this through to the next game. Yeah. We're unbeatable. More of the same. Pure heart,
what
pure
courage,
pure determination."
What Sir Alex Ferguson used to say. Remember? Sir Alex Ferguson, his mindset with it. That's exactly what he was like. So positive. He'll be fighting. He'll be fighting. He makes sure his players are fighting to the very last second. That's where the Fergie time came into place.
Right. Yes, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things that impacted on Fergie time. What you got to remember is Man United players at that time were training to such a high standard that they were probably training beyond 90 minutes. Yes. So being able to play 90 minutes wasn't a problem, right? He also worked on their mentality. At the beginning of Fergie's managerial career, he was ruthless, man. Absolutely. Now, towards the latter stages, right, you could see in Fergie, he's more of a father figure. He wasn't busting people's balls like he used to. What he was doing was he realized, I need to manage different people differently. So
understanding everyone's different.
Yeah. So people like Cantona were probably given a free rein. People like Roy Keane were shown massive belief and trust from him because he made things happen on that pitch, right? People like Ronaldo, he'd left his home country to come to Britain. The weather's cold. His family's not here. He doesn't know how to speak the language properly. He must have put his arm around him like a father figure and said, "Look, I've got you." But he didn't do that with everybody. Because those who needed the hard rhetoric, the hard verbalization, the truthfulness, he'd say to them, "You need to pack it in. Like, I need more from you." Yeah. Going out is a no-no. Yeah. There's some coaches out there that will say to their players, "You can go out at night and you can stay out until 5 o'clock in the morning. As long as you come back the following day, you still perform. But if you're not able to perform, then my expectation of you is that you start behaving like the person who wins titles and puts in the effort, because it affects everybody else. It doesn't just affect you, because everybody else is using you as part of the training drills in order to sharpen up their skills. Yes. If you're slow, you're slightly less reactive, if you're negative, how the hell are we going to get the best out of these people if you yourself are letting down yourself and everybody else as well?" Yeah. Okay. Right.
So going back to what you're saying in the sense of the state of mind.
So let me just touch upon this.
Yeah.
And I want to correct something just in case I got it wrong already.
Go for it.
If there's something positive that you say, it comes out 10x. It's 10 times as powerful. Right. What they found was if it's something negative that you say, it's 4 to 7 times more powerful. So 40 to 70 times X. That's what it is, right? Yeah. So I'm mindful of the fact that I might have got that the other way around, but it's so important. If you say something positive is 10x, you say something negative,
wow,
it's 40 to 70 times more detrimental to what you're saying. So
that's scary.
So what he says is,
That is scary.
so what he goes on to say is, you're better off not saying anything in the first place. And if you can start looking at the facts as opposed to what you believe something to be, then you put yourself in a better position. So life isn't so bad. Like, I do pay my bills every month. You know, I do have an opportunity now to meet a better partner. I do have time to work on myself. I can move ahead in life. These are the conversations that we should be having. We should have fair reflections on our life instead of talking that way.
Yes.
So what he'll do is he'll go on to talk about negativity and the verbalization of it. He'll talk about neutral-based thinking. And once you start moving towards neutral-based thinking, well, you're already heading in the direction of positive thinking, because then that goes into compound your ability to get more out of life anyway, okay?
Yep.
Okay, right. Next thing. Well, what are the main reasons why people can't be happy?
What?
So I'd say one of the biggest things.
Expectations.
Well, I'd say the first thing that I'd work on with anybody is that how good of a relationship do you have with yourself? What is it that's bringing value to your life? What are you doing to bring value to other people's life? Like, if you can't have a good relationship with yourself, there's no way anybody else can come along and make it better for you.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen.
Yep.
Right?
You're right.
You've been there. And until you started changing the conditions of your life and started having a better relationship with yourself, you didn't go on to achieve everything that you've achieved. And man, you've achieved a lot so far already. And you're going to carry that momentum and move forwards into whatever you want to move forwards, right? Yeah. Well, the other reason why people can't have a happier life is because of the habits that they employ, right? Like, here's a good example. What's the first phone you ever had?
BT Cellnet.
BT Cellnet. What phone was it? Do you remember?
Nah, it's just a BT. It was actually called
That's
a
what
BT.
it's called?
Yeah, it was like double the size of that, and it's a BT Cellnet with the wire thing sticking.
So why haven't you still got it?
Because I broke it.
Because you broke it?
Yeah.
All right, why didn't you buy the same one?
Because all the other kids were having the Nokias and all of that, so I wanted to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, at any given point, why haven't you gone back to having the same phone?
Because evolution.
Evolution of what?
Technology.
Technology. All right. Yeah. So why has the evolution of technology brought to your phone that the BT Cellnet phone didn't have?
Loads. Internet. It's got internet. It's got apps. It's got
apps.
The whole
Brilliant.
apps.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you haven't got the same phone that you had back then, right?
Yep.
Why haven't you got the same phone that you had a year or two ago?
Trying to move with the times.
It's more than likely it's the same reason. What people stop doing is they stop servicing the old phones because they don't have the capacity to run the new features, the new technological advances, and the new apps that we have on our phones, right? So in order to have a better phone, in order to have more from your phone, you need to upgrade your phone so that it can run the new apps behind the scenes, yeah? Yep. Well, how many times do we upgrade this? How many times?
Very rare.
And if you don't upgrade it, you're going to keep getting the same results. That's why I believe some people aren't happy. They're still living their life how they used to live it. Look, my mom used to cook an amazing meal every Sunday. And when I was 20, 22, 25, man, I could eat her food in so much quantity, like the following day I'll be fine. But if I keep eating now, I'm coming up to the age of 42, the same way I used to eat when I was 22, it's not going to work for me, bro. Yeah. I can't have pronte or samosas or pakore or any of the kind of Indian food in the same quantity, in the same way, at the same times that I used to eat it before. How many times do we upgrade our happiness? How many times do we reflect on our happiness? How many times do we reflect on where we are in our life? How many times do we work on what's producing our results? We don't. And I think that therein lies a massive problem when it comes to our outlook on life. We keep hanging around with the same people, having the same conversations, doing things the same way, not and getting the same results. And what we do is we moan, we bitch, we complain, we get offended.
Constantly attracting it.
Yeah, and it's never working in your favor.
Yep.
Right? And if we were so I'm about to move very quickly on to the toolkit side of things, right? If we were to start paying just a little bit more attention to the good things in our life, to what is working in our favor, and identifying what we want, man, we're heading well in that direction.
Yeah.
And isn't that what you've done in order to improve your health, wealth, success, happiness, and relationships?
100%.
Be better with yourself,
Yeah.
work on yourself, upgrade your life, raise your standards, raise your skills, become more of who you are instead of constantly living the life that you've always lived. When you mentioned lockdown prior to starting, right? Okay.
Yes.
So there's an awesome quote that came out. I saw it on Instagram right at the beginning of the first lockdown, right?
Yeah.
And I believe it's Tom Billy who said it. And he said something along the lines of, if at the end of this lockdown, you don't come out with operated skills and more in your life, then time was never the issue. It was your habits.
Yes.
But it's true.
Yes, so true.
How many people are always complaining, I just need more time?
Yes. There's not enough time in the day.
Yeah, if I had more time, I'd be able to do more.
I'll be able to run. I'll be able to cook better, blah, blah, blah.
Well, there is no more time.
Yeah.
Like, you get the same time as everybody else has got. You get the same time as
24 hours
Oprah, same time as you, same time as Barack Obama. Everybody's got the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So we have to make use of whatever time we have. And if we start streamlining what we do with our time, we'd be so much more happier. Yeah. Okay. Right. So the third thing I want to say on why we're not happy is because we don't have enough belief in ourselves. We give up hope. We have no faith. Now, look back at history. If anybody had a reason to give up hope, it would have been the slaves, as one example.
Yes.
They were being persecuted, treated like shit.
Yeah.
Their wives were being raped. They were being taken care of. They weren't getting paid for the work they were doing. Imagine if they turned around and said, you know what, fuck this. Like, my life is going to be the safe life that my children are going to lead. It's going to be the same for my children's children. I don't see any way out of here. I've given up hope. I'm out of here. They never did that. And how lucky are we that they didn't?
Yeah.
Look at it from a Sikh perspective.
Yeah.
Right? There was times when the amount of Sikhs had dwindled down to what, 300, 400, 500 people? That was all that was left. There's historical accounts of where Sikh women were taken, the children were taken from them, cut limb by limb, put around their necks like garlands in order to try to break their spirit. Now they had the best excuse to give up hope.
Yeah.
They had the best excuse to give up and to say, look, what's the point? If I'd have just converted, if I'd have given in to the people who were oppressing me, I still have my child. Yeah. They never gave up.
Yeah.
They kept it going. They kept hope. And how glad are we that they did? Because we're here today. Imagine if the Allied forces of Britain had said, you know what, Germans are just too strong.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna work. We haven't got the support of anybody. Like, just leave it. Let's break a deal with them.
Yeah.
Like, how lucky are we? They gave their lives so we could have an existence.
Exactly.
They never gave their lives so we could have a poor existence.
No.
They gave their lives so we could have a fruitful existence.
Absolutely.
So we could learn the good things that keep us happy and we could pass them on to our children. But we're too busy showing them the wrong things. They're copying it. They're having a poor existence.
It's so true. And there's a quote that Bruce Lee says as well. You've probably seen it. It's all over Instagram. I always see it. But about your children, don't raise your children and give them the things you never had as a child. Teach them.
Wow.
Teach them the things you never had as a child and teach them the right way. And it's such I think that's such an inspirational quote. And it's so true because you see so many people out there just trying raise their children and give them materialistic things just because they never had it as a child themselves. I think that's wrong.
Okay, so look,
raise them the way and teach them the way.
So you reminded me about something else there. Okay. You know when people say, "I'll be happy when,"
yes.
right? So we discussed it earlier.
About your friends.
I think we can go back to it now.
Go for it.
When we're giving people things that they never had, like our children, for example, right? If money and materialistic things and everything else that went with it was going to give you a happy lifestyle, how is it that people who are rich have so many troubled lives? Right. So I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast. And I think he was talking to a chap called Naval Ravikant. Right. Okay. Awesome podcast. And in this particular podcast that Joe Rogan was talking about, he's talking about happiness, and he goes on to mention that in America, one of the conversations that he had with one of the other mothers of her that were attending the same school as her daughter, right?
Yeah.
She mentioned that people in an affluent area near a tech site were self-harming, considering suicide, having a real shitty life.
Wow.
These are kids, man.
Wow.
Now, these kids have multi-millionaire or billionaire family setups.
Wow.
They have trust funds. They have backup trust funds for their trust funds. They have a backup for their backup of their trust fund. Like money's no issue, right? They have the money. They have accessibility to all the good things that they can have in their life, but they still can't get it going up here.
Yeah.
Giving people what you didn't have is never going to be the answer, is it?
Nope.
Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I do it. I do it with my kids. I give them consoles and, I want the best clothes that they can have, all the rest of it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you're right. In accordance with what Bruce Lee said, we need to also teach them, morals, ethics, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That will bring more value to their lives. Children from this tech area were self-harming and causing themselves so many issues, and they couldn't deal with anxiety and then the depression that came along with it, and then the self-harm issues and the low self-esteem. They actually went ahead and coined the term affluenza. They were living in an affluent area, they had an affluent lifestyle, but just like with influenza, it's an issue that you've got. They coined the term affluenza for them.
Right.
So I think it's a good point that you made there. It's not necessarily what we've got in our lives that's going to bring the most value. It's how we interpret things. And then our thoughts, our belief systems, the emotions that are linked to it that are going to result in our actions and then the outcomes that come after that. So that was really good. You ready to move on to the toolkit?
Let's do it, baby. I'm buzzing for this. I want to hear about it. I'm sure the listeners out there are wanting to know about it, and I think this is going to make a massive impact on a lot of people out there listening.
Just as a primer to the toolkit that I'm going to go on and explain in a minute, what I'm going to do is touch upon why behaviors are so important.
Yeah.
Our behavior and the behaviors that we employ on an everyday basis is going to bring the biggest change in our lives. And so this works for not just happiness, self-image, and personal development. This massively works when it comes to business as well.
Okay.
Right. So it has far-reaching implications. Okay.
Sure.
Right. All right. So I learned about this from Trevor Mowat.
Okay.
And he was on the podcast with Tom Billy on Impact Theory, right? Okay. So he tells this story, and this story was like, when you have the pennies just dropped moment.
Yeah.
That's what happened when I listened to it. And I've gone on to share this story with other people and got them to watch the video, and their attitudes have changed massively. Okay. Okay. So Trevor, when he was younger, his dad comes home and he visited an event called Toastmasters. Toastmasters is very similar to what we have as TEDx nowadays.
Right, okay.
So they get inspirational, successful people coming onto the show, and what they'll do is they'll talk about what they did when they were going through their younger years and then their prime years of business or anything else in order to become successful, okay? So it's a local, regional, and national show that they used to have, Toastmasters.
Right.
His dad comes back home and he says to him, look, you're sitting your SATs coming up this year, yeah? He goes, yeah, I am, yeah. So SATs, the standard attainment test.
Yeah.
Like we had them when we were at school.
We had SATs in year 9 or something.
Yeah,
Year 3
exactly,
in secondary school. I don't know what you call it.
So I think they still do SATs, but it's a test, right? Half it is, I think, is maths, and half of it is either English or some sort of verbal reasoning, right? So his dad comes home and he says to him, I've just been to Toastmasters, and there's a guy there, and he was talking about what happened when he was asked to do his SATs. And he says his mom, I believe she was a single mom, she's come home and she said to the kid, your SATs are coming up soon. I want you to sit them. And the kid goes, all right, then I'll sit them. So this kid, he lived life like most young lads do,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
Like if I can just expand on it a little bit, you go to school, sit at the back of the classroom, talk to your mates, do your homework at the last available opportunity, hand it in, your result comes back, you don't reflect on it, life is the way it is. Don't engage in any extracurricular activities that you think is going to help you with your work. You just want to do all the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. What happens is, the test comes around, he sits the test, this kid does.
Right.
He then goes back home, and then within a certain period of time, be it a week or so, the test comes back, and his score's revealed. Yeah. Right. So, from what I've seen, if you the SAT scores are out of 1,600. Okay. Yeah, that's the highest score you can get. Yeah. 800 for one section, 800 for the other section, right? Okay. So, if you score between 0 and 600. Man, you are really at the bottom end. Yeah. Like, people need to pull out all the stops in order to help you. They need to bring your score up. More needs to be done in order to help this student.
Of course.
Right? If you score between 900 and 1100, you're doing quite well. Yeah. Right? You're pretty much on target. Yeah, you're heading in the right direction. You're going to do well in life. Sure. If you score, say, 1,300 to 1,600, man, you are Einstein material, right? Yeah. Like, you are there. Like, we're really doing something good here. This person has the ability to go on and be a leader in life in any industry that they want to choose. So this kid's scores come back, and he scores 1,480. Okay. He scores 1480.
Yeah, so
right. So,
as
Travis, he's doing well, right? Yeah. So as the story is told by Trevor, his mom looks at him, and doing what any mom who knows her child would do, she turns around and goes, "Did you cheat?" Right? And he's like, Mom, no, I never cheated, man. Like I wanted to cheat, but the way that the squares and the boxes and the bubbles are all worked out, I couldn't figure out a way to cheat. So I just went ahead and did the test.
Fair play.
Right? And she's like, man, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, the love I feel from my heart right now for the son who's gone out of his way and he's done the test that I didn't think he was going to do well. That's amazing.
Gone exceptionally well, yeah.
Right. So then this kid thinks, wait a minute, I'm coming close to my senior year. Like, I never really tried before, and I've got a good test. Imagine if I do apply myself. Imagine if I did sit at the front of the class. Imagine if I did listen to my teachers. Imagine if I did do a bit of planning and preparation before I handed in my homework. Imagine what could happen. So Mum's happy, and then he's thinking about it as well, right? So his teachers are like, wow, look, Franklin Pierce, we missed the boat on this kid. Like, we let him sit at the back. We let him do whatever he wanted. We never invited him to any additional extracurricular activities, to do the maths and the chess and this, that, and the other. So they started putting in a little bit of effort with him as well. So as it would happen, he leaves school with decent grades. Yeah. He goes to college, right? Leaves college with such good grades that he goes to an Ivy League school, Ivy League university, right? Wow. So that's similar to Warwick, Oxford, Cambridge, right? Right. Yeah. He then does so well there. He goes into I think his line of work, publishing, and then he does so well that he wins promotion and then becomes
excels
like the CEO of this company, right, in record time, right? He does really well.
Wow.
So Trevor turns to his dad and he goes, look, I get it. I get the story. Like, there he was living his life. He was always bright.
Yeah.
But he needed the SAT test to prove it and to bring it to the forefront.
To bring it to bring it to life. Of
right,
course.
right. And his dad goes, no, that wasn't the story.
Okay.
He goes, so what's the story then? He goes, well, the story is 12 years after having sat the test, he gets a letter in the post. So he's married at this time. He doesn't open the letter. His wife says, do you want to open the letter the following day? He goes, yeah, I'll open the letter. He opens the letter. The letter's from the local education authority, like kind of like audit and compliance, right? And they say that every so many years, we'll look back at our policies and procedures to see how we have come to the results that we have done, and to make sure that we are compliant in our approach to testing people, right? And the letter said, we're now writing to you to inform you that 12 years ago when you sat the test, your score was not 1,480, your score was 740. Fuck. 740. So what's the story here? The story here is that he behaved like a 1480 student. He started approaching his life as a 1480 student. He went about his business as a 1480 student. His mom treated him like a 1480 student.
So
his
that
teachers treated him as that. Because this is a message that Trevor's saying in his interview, and I think it's so important. He says, if you live your life by your current conditions and believe that it will be the same for the rest of your life, then who's going to argue with you? Fine, that's the way it's going to be. If you change your behaviors and start acting like that which you want to be, then the results have to catch up. And that's what happened. Absolutely. The initial results that came out were wrong. He wasn't a 1480 student. He was a 740. But when he started applying himself and everybody else around him in his circle started behaving and treating him like a 1480 student, the results very quickly caught up. He left school with high grades. He left varsity college with high grades. He left Ivy University with Ivy League University with high grades. He then gained promotion because he kept on behaving the same way. He realized this is working for me. Why would I ever want to change it for?
Of course.
That's the story that really hit home to me, that our behaviors are way ahead of our results.
Absolutely.
Look, let's think about it. Messi, Ronaldo, Barack Obama. None of these people were accomplished. None of these people were really ahead of their game when they first started. But their behavior was as if they were. Beckham used to practice before training started, during training, and then after. Right? So many people do that.
You sent me a video very recently, I'd say it was last weekend, wasn't it, of Donald Trump. I know everyone's got their opinion of Donald Trump, so don't stress on that. But it's a video that from earlier Donald Trump, when just after his bankruptcy or something, and he's going on about a friend of his, that his friend, he used to lecture because his friend wasn't as successful, but he wanted to keep jumping on the first class plane. Kept wanting to get the first class seat. Couldn't barely afford it, but still managed to afford it. Wanted to keep surrounding themselves on the first class seat, right? And surround themselves with that mindset. Now look at him. Now look what he's achieved since then. Because he was surrounding himself and being in that mindset that, yes, may not be able to afford it at the time, but surround themselves by saying, yes, I am going to be on this first class seat and I'm going to be here throughout the rest of my life if I need to be. Does that make sense? And it's having that mindset of understanding that it goes back to, we mentioned earlier on in this podcast that you surround yourself with the right people, influences. You have the right things around you in life. You don't get up in the morning. You don't look at the Daily Mail. You change your habits in a positive. You don't be getting home on a Friday night, watch Coronation Street. You're doing something more productive in your life. You're going to create positive habits, and that's where I'm right in saying you're linking up with the behavioral. side of things, and you're changing your mindset in that, and you're changing your behavior, and now look at what you're achieving from it.
Well, yeah, I think that's spot on. If you want to achieve something in life in a particular area, it could be anything, it could be happiness, it could be business success, it could be education, all the rest of it. The quickest way to start moving in that direction is to see what other people who've already achieved in that area are doing, and you start mimicking that.
Absolutely.
Right?
And now, mimicking and copying are two different things. You're right.
So as soon as you are then heading in that direction, and you start getting very similar results, what you then do is start thinking, well, what can I do that other people aren't doing? And then you're heading towards domination, right? Like domination of your sport or as a leadership and all the rest of it. But the quickest way to start moving in that direction is to easily start doing what other people are doing. Well, how did they do it? What are their behaviors? What are the conversations that they have? How do they treat people? Right? If you start looking at success, always leaves clues, man. Sometimes you're going to approach somebody and say, look, you're doing really well, man. How does it work? He's like, I ain't got time for this shit. To go away. I ain't talking to you. Oh, then fine. Go speak to somebody else. There's always people out there that are good, are willing to help, and will put you on your journey. Right?
It's awesome.
So your podcasts, I guess, are one of those things, right?
Yes.
There's content here. There's value in there. There's information in there. If you want more information, come back to you. Contact the person directly. Somebody somewhere and say, look, let's have a chat. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's discuss things further. So when you start scratching the surface, do you really start understanding what is going on in people's lives? What it took for them to be where they are? And if you start doing some of the same, you start heading in that direction.
Completely agree.
I think that takes us straight onto the toolkit. Right. So what I'm going to touch upon here will be, yes, happiness or personal development, but it also relates to business and our successes in our life, okay? And if we do this and we can nail it, because it's really easy to do, then what you'll find is that you can then use the same toolkit with your children. So I'm going to go through the top 5 that I've got, but the list is something like 20 to 28, right? But it gets more and more developed the more you develop as a person. Right. And it depends on the journey that you're following. Right.
But, so you're picking these 5
for anybody and everybody.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Right. So toolkit. The first thing I work with the people that I've been working with over the last year is gratitude exercise. Okay. Gratitude is I believe the most fundamental part to anybody improving anything, be it business, personal development, or your own behaviors and your own happiness, okay? Most people will turn around and say, what kind of woo-woo stuff is that? Like gratitude. Out of all the things that you can tell me about, why gratitude? And this is the reason why. If you can wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is to note 2 things that you're grateful for, and then go on to explain why, then what you're doing is you're priming your mind with the good stuff that's already there instead of all the negative stuff that's happening elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Right? So I spoke to a friend of mine. She wanted to lose weight. Right. And I said, you need to start gratitude practice. She's like, well, why? How is that going to help me? So here's a person who would start flapping and stressing over the list of things. So-and-so said this at work. So-and-so said that at work. My children ain't listening to me. My partner said this. My partner's always on the PS4. My partner's not doing this. There's always an excuse for somebody to be angry or agitated over something, right? So I did the exercise with her live over the phone, right? And I said to her, look, just tell me one thing that you're grateful for. And she goes, this is stupid, I ain't going to do it. I said, well, if you don't want to do it, you'll have the life that you've always had. Do you want to do that? Is that the life that you want to live? Yeah. And she said, no. And I said, well, do the gratitude exercise. Tell me one thing that you're grateful for. And she goes, all right, then I'm grateful for my kids. Right? She's kind of flippant about it when she first did it. Wow. Right? She said, all right, then find my kids. I said, well, yeah, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. I want you to tell me why you're grateful for your kids. So then she had to think, because the reason is so much more important than just the start of the exercise.
Yeah.
So I remember her saying this, man. She goes, look, I'm grateful for my son because everybody else's children, when I'm doing the school run, will not want to walk with their moms, right? They will not want to be seen with their mom. But my son wants to walk with me. He wants to talk to me. He wants to discuss what we're going to do later on in the day. She goes, so I'm having a beautiful experience. She goes, but what's even better is when I go and pick him up from school. Because then everybody else is hanging out with their friends. He'll run over and he'll hug me in front of everybody. He'll wrap his arms around me. And she goes, the feeling I get inside my heart is amazing. She goes, when I come home, my daughter will make me the best cup of tea ever. She goes, anybody else's daughters that I know of will want to stay out, will want to go somewhere else, will want to visit some relatives' address and all the rest of it. But my daughter will come home, spend time with me. She'll trust me. She'll talk to me about things that they typically only talk with their friends about.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm more than a mother. I'm her best friend. She goes, that's why I love my children.
Amazing.
That's put a smile on your face, Pindi.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good talking about it.
Yeah.
Imagine how she felt. My point is, when she was talking to me about that, she had no opportunity to think about worry or anxiety or something that had happened in the past.
Yeah.
She had no opportunity to dwell in any other state other than that of gratitude.
Towards the kids, yeah.
Towards the kids.
Of course.
So what happens is, as you do the exercise, 2 things that you're grateful for every day, right? And I tried this with another person, and they're saying, look, I've done it day 1, I've done it day 2, but I run out of ideas. I go, bro, is your life so shallow that you've only got 4 things to be grateful for? I said, you're not looking on purpose.
Yeah.
He goes, I've tried, I can't see it anywhere. Man, like, inside I felt so let down at that point, because either the person doesn't want to do it, in which case they're kind of giving up, or they don't believe in it, or they genuinely have nothing else to be grateful for. And I don't believe that, because this person is a good person, right? Does a lot of things for other people, all the rest of it, just find themselves in a difficult time. I said, well, if you can't do something, what should you be doing then? He's like, I don't know. There's some resistance there. Well, what can you do? I said, where would you find out from? If it was anything else that you don't know how to do something, what would you do? Yeah, I don't know, Google. That's what does. I said, have you Googled it? No. What else can you do? Look on YouTube. Well, have you looked on YouTube? No. I said, look, the answers are there. For anything else that you'd want to do in life, you're able to find the answer on Google or YouTube. Exactly. They're the 2 places that you can look. And the other way that you can look is ask somebody else. Why don't you go ask somebody? Like, ask your supervisor at work, ask a friend, phone somebody that you really look up to. Yo, what are you grateful for? And then they'll tell you. Stop the resistance and you'll start moving ahead with it. The whole point of the gratitude exercise is not only to keep you in a more positive state and to get you moving in the direction that you want to be, it's also to make you realize that there is no end to this exercise. Every day you can be grateful for something. If you are constantly looking for something to be grateful about, something to be happy about, something that is positive, then what will happen is throughout the day you will also keep looking for stuff like that. You'll start doing less of the things that cause you anxiety, worry, rage, and issues. You start doing more of the things that you'll be like, oh my God, that's quite cool. That's a gratitude thing. Yeah. There's a shift.
Of course.
In your personal self, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So where somebody overtaking you or cutting you up was pissing you off, you'd be like, leave it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Of course.
Maybe they are in a genuine rush. Yeah. Me then tailgating then, how's that going to help anybody?
Exactly.
If somebody's talking bad of another person at work, and often find yourself engaging in that, by doing something like a gratitude exercise, not have you already started off your day in a good way, when other people are then doing actions which do not resonate with you, you'll cut that conversation short, or if even better, you'll spin it into a positive.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My supervisor's an arsehole because he turned down my my request for annual leave. Right. Yeah, but maybe there aren't enough people around at the moment.
And he needs you, and they need you.
Yeah,
yeah, you can take your annual leave later on or something.
Yeah, well, there's COVID on at the moment. Maybe that's one of the reasons, we're low on troops on the ground at the moment anyway. Yeah. But, the last time I asked him for it, I got it. But how about taking half a day instead? Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Nah, man, I haven't thought about taking half a day. Well, you ask for half a day, you may still get the time off, but at the same time still be able to do some of the work that keeps your supervisor happy as well. Like, you just look at things in a different way. Another reason why it works in your favor is that if you're then shifting from the negative to the positive, people like Dr. Joe Dispenza will talk about brain and heart coherence. Like, you are no longer dwelling in a state of negativity, which is releasing negative chemicals into your system, like the cortisols and adrenaline, which isn't being used. And instead, your heart is being allowed to work in a good way. If you feel the way that she felt when she was talking about her kids and felt so positive in life, then your heart really opens up.
Of course.
But from a business perspective, opportunities, you'll see them more often.
Yeah.
People are then going to want to do business with you.
Of course.
So think about it. When I was growing up, one of the good things my mum taught me about was, if you hang around with people who are always talking bad of other people, and what are they saying behind your back?
Yeah.
Right? Do you really want to engage in conversation with them? Do you want to do business with them? Do you want to hang around with them? What are you going to start doing next? Well, you're going to start talking bad of other people as well. But it's the same when it comes to business, bro. No, people don't always buy the best product, but they'll buy from the people that they resonate with.
The
person, So if someone's got a good personality, you'll do it.
Of course.
I was talking to Manny earlier, and what I said to him was, people don't always remember what you speak to them about.
Yeah.
You don't always remember the conversations that you have with somebody.
Yeah.
But what you do definitely remember 100% is how somebody made you feel. Someone made you feel good, you want to call them up more often, text them more often, be around them more often. If someone makes you feel shit, you're like, nah, I'll give it a miss. They got this really good thing. Nah, I'm not interested. Not for me. I'm busy. You make an excuse, whatever it takes. You won't hang around with them. I'm telling you, right? Gratitude is absolutely a fundamental when it comes to you getting ahead in life.
100%.
Right? As a start. And if you couple that with a reflective exercise, at the end of the day, that's pretty much all you need to get yourself started. So the reflective exercise is, at the end of the day, if you've identified what you want in your life, for you to sit down and to answer the simple question, what have I done today to work towards the attainment of that goal? That's the reflective exercise. Right? Yeah. So if at the end of the day you can say, well, I did this and I did this, you're making progress, right?
Yes.
If you go 2 or 3 days and you haven't put anything down on paper, then that means you haven't done it. So then what have you got to complain about in life when you yourself are working towards the attainment of your goal?
Exactly. It makes perfect sense. It comes back to what you said prior about this whole pandemic and the guy that did the quote right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. So it comes right back to that again, doesn't it?
You know, when most
about management.
Yeah. Look, when most people come to you and they say, oh, this ain't working out for me, that ain't working out for me. Like, in my mind, the first question that lights up is, well, what have you done to either contribute to the situation that you're in, or B, to come up with a solution that can help your current predicament?
Yeah.
If you can't do anything to help yourself, no one else is ever going to do that for you. Right? So, gratitude in the morning, 2 things that I'm grateful for, and then a reflective exercise at the end of the evening, before you go to bed, or an hour or 2 before you go to bed. What have I done today that helps me towards the attainment of my goal? And if you haven't done anything, you still got time to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Right? Okay. That's the first 2 things.
Okay.
The next thing is...
So this is the third one now, yeah?
Yeah, this is number 3. Yep. Right? If you just do the first 2, you're well on your way.
Okay.
If you do the third one, you're really starting to tweak the system.
Okay.
Right? And it becomes more efficient. In that, it's an observation exercise. I want you to take note of something that you've done during the day, one or two things is up to you, and think, if I had done that differently, what would have been the outcome? Because you will then start realizing at any given point, when I have the opportunity to do something, the way that I go about it will bring around different results.
Yeah.
If you want a better result, do it better.
Yeah.
If you don't want a better result, you can be as negligent as you want. So gratitude, reflective, and observation. If that's all you do, forget 5. If all you do is 3, and you apply it to any area of your life, health, wealth, success, happiness, or relationships, are you telling me that you will not make progress in any element of your life if you wake up in the morning in a positive state and you're grateful? At the end of the day, you are reflective and take note of what you've been doing towards the attainment of your goal. And throughout the day, you've been mindful of the decisions that you've been making, and then noticing what else you could have done to have had a different result. The only way by doing these 3 things that you won't get a result in your life is if you don't do it.
Simple formula, right? It's a simple formula.
That's what I recommend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Start with those 3 things.
Start with those 3 things, right?
Okay.
The other 2 things, number 4 would be build a better relationship with yourself. If you can't have better for yourself.
Okay, so now the people listening, right, they're going to be probably thinking, how do I do that? How what do you mean? Build a better relationship with myself. What am I supposed to do? How am I going to do that? What are you going to tell them to do? How are you advising them on this?
Okay, so let's go back to the topic of neglect. Okay?
Yeah.
People neglect things in their life because it's easy to do so. To get more in your life is easy to do that as well.
Right.
What you have to think is, what are the things that I'm neglecting? So pick a topic out of those 5 things: health, wealth, success, happiness, and relationships. Health. Okay. Right. Majority of people know 80% of the things that they need to do to get better at health. It's the same for the other 4 as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Then majority of people know the things that they need to do in order to get started. All you need to do is to get started, and then people will come out the woodwork. You'll have weird synchronicities in your life. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what will happen is you just need to get started.
Right.
I saw a podcast with, I think his name is Faraz Sharabi. He was the coach of George St. Pierre.
Yeah. I think you sent me that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
So what they talk about is showing up and putting in the reps is what makes the difference, right? Show up every day, put in the reps, and make the difference.
Yeah.
So if it comes to your health, what are you been neglecting? Look, let's just be brutally honest about this, right?
Yeah.
What are the 80% of the things that you pretty much need to do in order to be better at health? What are they?
Exercise.
Exercise, diet, discipline,
yes,
right? Consistency,
rest as well.
Rest, which aids recuperation and regeneration, right? Let's just leave it at that, right? So if we just deal with those 5 or 6 things,
yes,
have you made a good start?
Absolutely.
Right. People won't do it. It's because of neglect. It's easy not to do it, right?
Until the time it's too late.
Yeah. So what it comes down to is, are you interested in having that change in your life, or are you committed to having that change in your life? So
the idea
John Assaraf talks about this, right?
Right.
I believe his name is John Assaraf. He's on impact theory as well. So if you're interested, you'll have a wishy-washy approach. You'll do some of the things that you're interested that could be done in order to make a move, right? Make a start. But if you're committed, you'll do whatever it takes.
Absolutely.
So your approach, your mindset to getting shit done is massive.
Yeah.
People give up. Oh, it never worked for me. Intermittent fasting didn't work for me. Or HIIT training didn't work for me. Well, don't tell me what didn't work for you. Tell me what did work for you.
Yes.
What can you do?
Yes.
Or how many times did you change your approach? These are the stories that we tell ourselves, right?
And it comes down to the complaint. Remember you talking about people liking to complain. because I can't do this, can't do this, can't do
So
this.
we're reaffirming to ourselves all the time why we can't get something done. Don't come to me with an excuse. Come to me with a reason.
Yes.
Don't like one of my supervisors used to say when I was at Juicens, don't come to me with a problem. Bring it to me with a solution.
Yeah.
Even if it is not a viable solution, at least it shows me that you're thinking.
Yeah.
But what happens if it is a viable solution? You're like, hey, I like that. Not only is it going to work for you, it's going to work for our other employees as well. Yeah, right, then you're on. It gets you into the mode of starting to think, right? So don't neglect the easy things that you can do every day to have a happier and more fruitful life. You need to start doing it. If you say, I don't know, Google it, YouTube it. There's so much material
out there nowadays that you can find out information from. It's
so look,
unbelievable.
getting started is so important.
Yes.
So is there any other question in relation to that particular area?
From my point of view.
Yeah, from getting started and somebody saying, I don't know.
No, just understanding how to how to have a better relationship with yourself. So you've answered it there and then.
Everybody knows what they can do to have a better relationship with themselves, right? What are the things that you complain about other people? What are other people not doing in order to have a better relationship with you? Well, you start doing the same things that other people aren't doing so that you've got a better relationship with yourself. Right? It's the same when it comes to your partner or your wife, right? But it's when you stop doing the little things that made a difference and that were easy to do is when you start drifting apart a little bit. Sending the text that you used to send before saying, I love you, or how's your day, or what we have to eat tonight. Yeah. You know, buying the flowers that you used to put a smile on her face. Taking time out to discuss stuff with your partner, right? It all makes a difference. Absolutely. When you start doing the easy things that make the difference,
that make a bigger impact as well.
It's all gone.
Absolutely.
So that's building a better relationship with yourself. Right?
100%.
If anybody out there feels that they want further clarity on that, just hit us up and then we'll get it sorted. Right?
For sure.
The fifth one, which I work in addition to the others, because the first three, the gratitude, the reflections, and the observations, right? They're all done kind of like in a journal format. So you write it down in a book, you're writing it down every day, and then you continue writing it down every day, and then say by the end of the year, you can look back at it and you see how much you've grown, right?
The more you're writing it, it becomes a habit, and you're reading it as you're writing it, you're tracking it. Yeah, I completely get it.
So it flows.
Completely get it. Completely get it.
You know, like what we said before, positive thought, reinforce or verbalize is 10x. Absolutely. Negativity is 40 to 70. So it's 4 to 7x of positive, but it's 40 to 70 overall, right? Yeah. Right. So when you're doing the journaling and it's positive stuff coming out, you writing it isn't too different from you verbalizing it.
Yeah, of course.
So you're reinforcing it in your mind, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the fifth one is for you to keep a calendar or a version of a diary and to start planning and preparing for your successes. If you want to train this week, don't just have it in your head that you want to train. Commit yourself to a time and a date that you're going to train and what it's going to be, and the chances of it happening go through the roof. There's so much likely to happen. If you can then get a friend or somebody else from the same gym to agree upon meeting with you to do that exercise or that drill, it goes up even more, the likelihood of it happening, because you don't want to let the other person down.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you can't write down and block out time for what it is that you want to do, when you want to do it, and what's going to happen, the chances are you're going to slip off it and then not follow through on it. So use this as a tool.
Because then that excuse comes, I'll start on Monday.
Yeah, I'll do it again.
I'll do it again.
If someone's waiting on you,
you haven't got that.
And if you've already written it down, and you've already committed to something, and you know what it is that you're going to do, the chance of it happening is even better.
Yeah, it's far greater. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So, if we can make small changes, add consistency, work through the toolkit, do all 5, do all 3, do the top 2. It makes no difference to me where you start, but please start. Because once you've started, your life's going to be beautiful. And if you're having a beautiful life, and then there's little ones running around the house, seeing you having a beautiful life also want the same.
It goes back to that. They'll see you having a beautiful life. They're going to attract it. They're going to do it themselves.
And then you are deserved of being the person who should get the promotion, who should get the partner, who should get a better job.
Absolutely.
It all starts falling into place.
Beautiful.
But you're accountable for everything that happens in your life. You have to be brutally honest with where you are, or where you want to go, and start making a plan as to what needs to be done in order to get there. The plan does not have to be perfect. No way does it have to be perfect. Just get started.
That's the main thing. Get started. That is the 100% key thing.
Yeah. And most people who are successful in life, it wasn't their first project. They started off with something completely different. Jeff Bezos, he wasn't doing what he's doing now. He was selling books.
Yeah.
He's shifting books here and there. Well, look where he is now.
Exactly.
It's a compound effect. He started, he had transferable skills.
Yeah.
He saw an opportunity. He moved it to a new market. He worked with other people. He had a total hope and belief in what he was doing. If ever he hit a dead-end junction, he changed his approach. Like, this is basic stuff. Why isn't it taught in the schools? Why isn't it taught to us by our parents? Because the same people who are teaching in schools are the same people as our parents. They have the same mentality, the same way of thinking. They don't employ these things in their life. Their habits are not self-serving. Their habits are now working against them, and they are self-sabotaging.
Wow.
Do the toolkit.
Simple.
You're going to have an amazing life.
Thank you so much, brother. That is absolutely amazing. Now, with people stuck at home, with the youth as well, the next generation, G, what would you, obviously, I know you've just gone over this toolkit. I probably already know the answer to this already, but there's someone sat at home. What would you advise them now, right now, that doesn't want to get lifted on there, doesn't want to get up, doesn't want to achieve anything? Just give them some sort of inspiration like you've always done, man. Go for it. I know I've just put you on the spot.
No.
Just go for it, bro.
Amazing question. I addressed this very point with somebody who was looking to lose weight, and they wanted a plan out of it. And what I explained was, it's the processes that we put in place that are going to get us our results, not you constantly complaining about and overthinking about losing weight, right? So in relation to her, what we did was, I posed a question to her, which was, what's the one smallest thing you can do right now in order to start moving in that direction? And she said, look, I'm in the kitchen at the moment. Like, I guess I can have a grape. Well, have that grape. Yeah. Like, that's one grape that you were not thinking of having right now, and you definitely haven't had over the last few days. Like, the fruit used to be bought for the children, right? So, so I said to her,
it's a small step in the right direction.
A small step, yeah. Okay. So she had that grape.
Yeah.
And the following day, I asked, well, what's another thing that you can do now? Well, she'd been on these Weight Watchers and Slimming World things before. And what she posted to me was that she recalls from one of the training sessions that if you were to have a glass of water prior to having your meal, it gives you that feeling that you're fuller earlier on into the meal, so you don't have to have as much moving forwards. So it's all right, then fine. You had a grape yesterday. You have a glass before your meal today. Give that a go. Yeah. Because how much time, effort, and energy is it taxing of hers to have had that first grape? Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. How much of the same did it take out of her for her to have a glass of water? Well, nothing. All right. So I wanted to then get her moving in that direction. So what can you do on the third day? Well, she said, look, I normally have 2 toasts with my coffee in the morning. Yep. And what I'll do is I'll have 1.5 toast. Okay, we'll then do that. So the 4th day, what you're having now? Well, instead of having 1.5 toast, which is buttered with once, twice, I'll have it buttered just once. So I'm consuming less of the butter or margarine, whatever she's having, right? Right, so from there, she ended up making small changes every day, moving in that direction. No word of a lie, she lost 3 stone in 3 months.
Wow. Because
she then realized that she was able to make further changes. She made changes to her alcohol intake. Right. She made a difference to what she was planning on doing on the weekends. Yeah. She decided to join up to a walking app. So on the walking app, what it does is it says that if you were to walk from here to here, let's say Land's End to John O'Groats, it's this many million steps.
Right.
And what you do is you go out walking in your local area, take your Fitbit or your phone with you, and it counts how many steps you're doing.
Yeah.
And every time you walk a certain thousands of steps, it shows you on this app, on this map, how much you've walked from that distance in real life.
Wow.
Right? So she started employing different behaviors and habits in her daily routine to get her where she wanted to go.
Wow.
So that's what I recommend to someone sat at home on their couch, like, yeah, I can't be asked with this shit. But I want to do something. Well, what's the smallest thing you can do right now? Like, get down and do a squat, do a push-up, do half a push-up, stand up against the freaking wall and do a push-up. I don't care what it is. But start momentum, start your journey.
And it all starts with baby steps.
It does.
There you go. Now, that's amazing. Thank you so much, G. Honestly, I think I can agree with everyone listening at home, everyone watching at home. We could have been here forever talking about all the inspiring things that you have just gone over in today's podcast. I can't thank you enough in taking your time out and coming onto the podcast with us today. It honestly means a lot. But G, I can assure you there's going to be people out there wanting to know more, wanting to hear more from you. Just let the audience know where to find you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media platform you have.
I have been on Instagram for the last year or so.
Okay.
My activity on there has subsided a little bit recently. However, because of our engagement today, I'll just kickstart again, right?
Amazing.
I'm on there as Advanced Mentoring Group.
You'll find the link here, guys, on the screen when you search Advanced Mentoring Group.
Yep. And then what I'll do is I'll ensure that the daily quotes, any videos that we can put on there, short snippets that can make a difference to people's lives will be on there. The main thing is please, please, please start making movement in your life. Start working towards that which you want to achieve. And if we can help you, get in touch. But it doesn't necessarily have to be us.
Yes.
Get in touch with family members who are positive and can help you get stuff done. You know the people in your life that can help you move in the direction of the things that you want to achieve.
Yes.
So, but the onus is on you to start that happening, right?
Absolutely.
We spend so much money every month on cars, on hairstyling, on contact lenses, on other kind of purchases, be it holidays or concerts, all the rest of it. But we spend absolutely zero when it comes to our happiness and when it comes to our personal development. Start working on those two things. Start looking on YouTube, it's all free. Start looking on Google, it's all free. Start talking to other people, get in touch with us, get in touch with other people, make a difference in your life and be happy forever, man.
Perfect. Honestly, thank you once again, G. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for having me here.